Someone call Andy and a camera because she's starting. It looks like Luann is calling Bethenny Frankel desperate after Bethenny announces her new podcast. She didn't stop there. She also claims that everything that Bethenny has started since The Real Housewives of New York has failed. Welcome back to the Kempire Daily YouTube channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So it's been a while since we talked about the ladies of The Real Housewives of New York. Well, The Real Housewives of New York legacy? I'm ready for it. I don't care what anyone else says. I'm excited for Roni, the reboot, because I know how great my city is and the potential of this reality show. But all of that aside, the legacy, the OGs are fighting. Well, not fighting, not yet. Stay tuned. Because Bethenny Frankel earlier today announced that she's launching another podcast, but this time it's about the Housewives. And as you know, Bethenny has talked about the Housewives on her social media, gave us a lot of tea, and she knows a lot. And she is an OG. She is part of the reason why Real Housewives is what it is. Yes, we give the credit to Nene, but we also have to give credit to a Bethenny Frankel. So Bethenny took to her social media earlier today to announce her new podcast. She says this: I'm going back to Housewives on my terms, and I'm going to mention it all. Today is the day the Housewives franchise has left an indelible mark on my career and my life. While I've chosen to move on into different areas of business, there is no escaping the Housewives discussion in media and popular culture. This is Rewives, a new podcast on iHeartRadio where I talk to a successful, iconic, and intelligent media or entertainment personality and break down the intimate details and behind-the-scenes stories of epic and iconic Housewives episodes. Whether a scary trip or a table flip, there are so many elements of family, finances, friendship, fashion, and fun to break down in hilarious detail with an iconic personality. Listen to Rewives starting November 14th. Honestly, when she breaks it down like that, it sounds really good. And I know what some of you are already going to say because you've already been saying it to Bethenny for quite some time. Stop talking about Housewives. You're no longer on Housewives. But she's right. Housewives really, especially when you look at Bethenny Frankel, so many people have tried to recreate what happened with Bethenny, going from the single girl who really didn't have a lot to a millionaire and pop culture icon. She's definitely a part of pop culture. And we were just talking about this because so many of you tell people to shut up, stop talking about the show you're no longer on. We were just talking about that with Buffy from Married to Medicine. You guys always say it to Carlos King. And look, I don't love these folks all the time, but we live in America. Everyone has a right to say what they want to say. And Bethenny has a right to say it. And based on how she's describing this, it's not just a podcast of her talking about her experience. I'm sure she's going to put that in there. No, she's having conversations with other people. I'm looking forward to that. I might actually check into this versus her other podcast. Her other podcast was something not similar, but where she was interviewing, business minds and some celebrities. I am interested in this, but Bethenny, I implore you. One of the things that Bethenny struggles with, and this is what she struggled with on her daytime talk show, is having that conversation without being overbearing in that conversation. Let it be conversational. Let your guests speak more than you do. Add when necessary. Ask the really good questions, which I think she has the potential to do. Well, with this announcement, caused a little backlash because her former co-star and fellow OG, Countess Luann, and every time I say Countess Luann, people say she's no longer a countess. As she would say, once a countess, always a countess. Okay, Luann. So Luann was on a podcast and she, in an interview, says that she feels as if everything that Bethenny has done since The Real Housewives of New York has failed. And this is just a desperate attempt at relevancy. I'm adding that last part.
almost feels like a personal attack when you see one of the cast members sort of shitting on the show that we love so much. And so,
right. And as if she shits on the show, that means she's going to shit on us on her little podcast about the Housewives. So, you know, uh, it's pretty sad and pathetic that, you know, she has to resort to Housewives because of all of her failed, you know, pivots since the Housewives. She's tried everything other than Housewives, and it doesn't seem to work. So, and now she's going back to Housewives. So, you know, it's a pretty desperate scenario.
Desperate. I get it. Look, you know I'm fair here. I go twerking on a fence. In all fairness, I think what Luann is referring to when it comes to Bethenny is all of her television things. We all know, you've heard the rumors, Bethenny really wants to be successful in television. And all of her television things, even though she's gotten really great opportunities, they've sort of kind of fallen flat. Her HBO show, her daytime talk show, the podcast, the first one that she did, none of that really was like, bam, here's Bethenny. However, to say that Bethenny hasn't been successful since leaving Roni, I can't say that. I can't say that. Her company is still doing very well. She was already doing well before she left Roni with her brand, the Skinny Girl brand, and she's continuously expanding that brand into other areas. So she is successful in business. I think what we all know is that Bethenny wants to not just be successful in that level of her business, but also as a TV personality. Again, it goes back to, people, money is not enough for people. People want fame. People want people to be like, oh my God, Bethenny, you already have it though. But she wants to do it on her own outside of Housewives. And she's tried and it hasn't really popped off. I know she also has that other show on, what is it, CNBC? I meant to watch it, but I didn't. Did anyone else watch it? Is it still on? It's with Mr. Wonderful. I actually wanted to see her as a shark. I think as a shark, she would have been perfect because she really is like a shark. I think she would have been perfect for Shark Tank. But I do see what Luann is saying. But I don't think that everything that Bethenny has done since Housewives has failed. Be Strong, I've said this before and I'll say it again, will probably be the biggest part of Bethenny Frankel's legacy. Her charitable work for the last few years around the world, raising millions, bringing millions of dollars in supplies to people that are in disasters. I know Maya had said this to Oprah at one point because Oprah said, this will be my legacy. And Maya was like, no, you think that this TV thing and things like that will be your legacy. No, your legacy is the things that you're doing to give back, things like you were doing in South Africa. That is going to be Bethenny's legacy. And that is far from a failure. That is far from desperate. But I do know that Bethenny wants to be successful in television. And no one can deny what Bethenny offered to Roni. She was fantastic on Roni. She is a TV icon. She was the moment. I'm sorry, Bethenny. She was, though. And I think what Bethenny needs to do, Bethenny, hear me out. I think what Bethenny needs to do is find the magic of what she did on Roni. Because I think if she went to Roni right now, she would be like, oh, yes, fantastic. I think she needs to not try to pretend to be, oh, I'm that boss girl, da 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 da. Some people need direction. Some people need an executive telling them, okay, this is how we're going to play this out. This is how we're going to do it. But when she's in the seat, in the captain's seat, it comes across inauthentic. It came across inauthentic on the daytime talk show. It came across inauthentic on the HBO Max show, where you were trying to pretend to be a boss, but you are a boss. But it translated like you were pretending. Anyone understand what I'm saying? I want to have that conversation in the comment section. What do you want to see Bethenny do? I know all of you want to see her on Roni legacy. I don't think that's anytime soon. Will you be listening to her podcast, Rewives? And what do you think about what Countess Luann de Lesseps had to say about Bethenny being a failure, desperate? Let's have that conversation in the comment section. And as always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. And don't forget to subscribe to my podcast, Kempire Radio, on all major podcasting platforms. Thanks for watching.